Hi, this is Johnny. You're watching Industrial Music Culture. Uh, Pretty normal, I'd say. I think I had it. I grew up in San Diego, and my parents are immigrants, but they were kind of like alternative for being like, moving to America in like the mid 60s or something. I don't know. My dad's Italian, mom's Korean. Pretty normal upbringing, I gotta say. My dad died when I was 8, but like it's not like I have like some crazy trauma or anything. It was not like there's nothing like really, really that crazy. I mean, there's some like mild ups and downs, but I grew up in like a nice neighborhood, and I had a very, I would say great, childhood, and I wasn't particularly like a disturbed kid or anything. I mean, I was kind of maybe a little weird to people. Like, for me personally, I think also this is also just myself. Like Jake wouldn't complain either, but like everyone has different mind, brain chemistries, mindsets. I think I've been kind of fortunate with the way mine is, that I've been like a lot of stuff doesn't bother me, or I just already had it easy, where I'm like not super. I'm not like definitely not battered, beaten down by the world or anything. I was raised Catholic, but we're not like no one's crazy. I was an altar boy. I loved it. But I think also like that's also what happens too in your teens, and you get close to that stuff. You get into music, get obsessed with music. At the same time, you probably get into drugs. They kind of go together in a lot of ways. I did some like standard, exciting stuff, but like I couldn't play anything fucked up or anything. Like I had it pretty good. I was a suburban kid in San Diego. 1998. So old man. Fucking Napster comes out and you can download everything. And I think that was the time when I started listening to Ministry, because you could just download shit and you'd be going, you just go online, you can just look up stuff and download records and just really go deep into stuff. And I was just trying to find every cool heavy record or any cool band I heard was cool. I watched tons of like VH1 and cable shit. And I remember like top 100 artists of hard rock and metal. And I was like, ooh, and I was just checking out every single one, and I really loved the Ministry a lot in high school. So that would probably be it. Similar time though, it's like a lot of stuff just kind of was industrial. I saw the movie Spawn in theaters. Fucking The Matrix came out. There's all this stuff that was kind of the time that was considered it was considered industrial, whatever. Atari Teenage Riot was big, stuff like that. Actually, we saw Spawn. I think it was terrible, but we were a fan of the comic book, and I remember having the soundtrack. Did not love the soundtrack. It was kind of all over the place. It's really interesting though, looking back. Actually, it's way better even now. Like to look back, I think the first like industrial band that I was actually into and like listening to a lot and being like, oh, I like this. This is industrial music, was Ministry, or industrial metal, whatever you want to call it. Like we're talking like end of high school. For people of my generation, we became very aware of. We started becoming aware of like post punk and all this like, kind of pretty obscure music, except for like for the narrative that we grew up with on TV of like rock music, and it's like totally like unremembered at the time. And it was a super cool thing, especially for my age. And this movie 24-Hour Party People came out at the same time. And then when I moved to LA, I met like cooler older people who are into music, and they listened to all kinds of post punk. I had these really old like guy who let me borrow this 12-inch of the Slits, Earth Beat. And we got super excited by that, and then we got the Soul Jazz comps, and that has Throbbing Gristle. So that takes you all the way back to the beginning of industrial or whatever. So, and then we grew up with the internet too, so you're always like looking up genres and reading everything. Like, oh, this led to this, and this is this, and this. I also was super into Big Black in high school, and I'm pretty positive Big Black's got to be an industrial band, right? I remember reading an interview where he's like, oh, industrial became this thing that's popular, but it's supposed to be Throbbing Gristle. But like, their music works more like what the popular sort of industrial rock or metal works like too, where you program beats with guitars and aggression. They're just from the American underground and closer to punk and cool indie music too. I would only consider myself being a musician at all was at the start of Health, and so I was probably like 20 years old or no, 21 or something like that. I mean, I had a band in high school. I started playing bass when I was 15. To be really generous to call myself a musician. I mean, I don't even know. be generous too, even with the first album, but like we made an album, so there you go. Or like we're playing in a band, getting paid. All right, now I'm a musician. You know, as long as I'm getting paid. So I got $40 a DIY show. I'm like, I'm a musician now. I think the credit I would give is that the band that made me want to be like, that I would actually want, because I would basically decide when Napster came out, I'm like, well, music's fucked. You're never gonna make a dime. With this out, I'll never go into music, even though I love it. And I'm not particularly talented at it either, but I was just like, man, don't be a fucking idiot. Napster just came out. But the band that made me like just really want to be in a band this second was this band from San Diego called The Locust. Very legendary, like fucking super cool grindcore band that's really wacky, and the whole scene that they were part of. They have a great record label, and all these record labels, 31G, Gravity, blah, blah. It's a cool DIY venue in San Diego at the college called Che Cafe, blah, blah. Anyway, The Locust, they had this tour called Oops the Tour. It was The Locust, Blood Brothers, Harkonnen, Airborne Radar, Lightning Bolt, noise, rock, grindcore, super avant, bizarro-ness that was, I think some people call San Diego hardcore, which is very abstract, very weird compared to anything that would be called that. And I was already a fan of those bands, but seeing it live at the Teen Center next to my house on that tour, this super stacked bill for, I don't know, $12 or something, you know, it was just the craziest and most amazing, insane shows I'd ever seen. And the comedy was, I had to go overnight to my job at Blockbuster Video, this is how old I am, to fucking organize the fucking inventory. So like I went, got covered in sweat in the pit, left, put on my uniform, fully covered in sweat, rushed, and was like, 25 minutes late to my overnight stocking at Blockbuster, and they were just so overjoyed that I actually showed up, because everyone usually just never shows up because it sucks. And so that I left that show being like, you know what, I want to make a band right now because this is fucking exciting. In the mid 2000s, I went to a fly-by-night 1-year jank-ass film school. Then I was out. I didn't go to college, and then I needed to work because I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? And I worked at Guitar Center for I think a year or at least close to it. And in that time, Jake, who's the singer, he got hired there, and he's a bit older than me, and he had just graduated college. And I think I was playing music on the stereo. We could play around music, and I was playing some really weird, some like avant shit. I think I was playing Chinese Stars, something like that. And Jake's like, hey, this is really strange music. You don't seem like a douchebag, and you're kind of dressed all hipsterified. Like, what's up? And I was like, and he's like, I heard you play bass. He's like, do you want to like play music with me? He's like, me and this other guy were trying to start a band, and they weren't really sure what they wanted to do. So I met them, and I was like, these guys are really cool. They're really intelligent. They're not douchebags. I don't think it would work with them, but I don't have any other options. I would like to make a band now. Every single person at my work would not be down to do anything I'd want to do. So like, this is the best shot. And so we started kind of playing together and trying to figure out, and I was super excited about all these bands from New York and all these noise bands, and super excited about the local scene, Smell and Il Corral, that I really wanted to join. And I had gone to the Smell when I was in high school in San Diego, and so I was immediately like, guys, we're gonna make a band. Let's listen to fucking, check out X Models, check out all stuff like this. Like, we got to make this really insano kind of, let's make something interesting, and like, and then we got to join the scene. We got to break in the scene somehow. We got to play the Smell. We got to play the Corral, and that's what kind of started it. And we found BJ off Craigslist, of all things. And Jake had a friend from where he grew up in Seattle, where they were in like a I guess you'd call it post-hardcore band. And they were very already seasoned DIY touring guys. And so within, months of forming, we put out a 7-inch, split with them, and, started touring in 2 cars and booking it through MySpace. And it was very, very, very fun, very exciting. And I played we left LA, we played a show in a living room in San Diego, and we got paid $40. Oh, dude, this is amazing. We got paid money for music, like, we fucking made it. I mean, our first tour was just a few months after forming. We did a DIY tour. We filmed the whole thing, and it was, for us, it was heaven. We were playing basements, playing hardcore basements on the West Coast, and drove up there. Most shows had no one at them. We played this explosive show in San Diego because we got lucky. We opened for Matt and Kim. We played a few of the shows in there. Some were all right, and we were just like, this is incredible. We played a show like 2 people in some DIY space in like Olympia, Washington. Like, this is fucking great. Like, what a life. Music video was our first music was very stressful. I'd gone to a 1-year film school, fancied myself a filmmaker on some level, and we got to work with like incredibly low budget. We got to work with like a very very young but very up and coming like professional cinematographer and on this red camera and shit. And so it was like we were filming it, and it's like a lot of it was not working, and it was like the culture, but there's like we were like really behind, and like the more seasoned pro, the fucking I was trying to do this thing work, and I'm just like. On that season pro DAP just started screaming at people, just like make it happen. I was like, all right, buddy. And he was like frustrated with me. He actually came together, and like it actually really worked in the end. And then the footage was like all over the place, but it was high quality. And I spent like the next like month editing it in Berlin, like while we were on tour. We had this huge wall, like a month in Berlin, just chilling, and it was great. And I'm actually really like the video. Die Slow, I think, came out actually really great in the end. So we have just finished a massive string of touring, and right now we're finishing our record, and we are going to be back on the road. We're playing Mexico City, which we're super excited about, and then we're going to do there's a few more dates coming up I haven't announced, but we're playing a sort of a goth convention in New Jersey, playing in I think it's a Marriott or Sheraton. That's pretty soon. So that's the thing. It's like we have not made a standard music video for a few years because of the pandemic, and we've had them all animated by the great Zev Deans. It's very cost effective. Soon we will be going into making really full-fledged music videos again, even though they do seem kind of outdated at times, but we're definitely going to go into it pretty soon. Zev, we kind of come together on it. I really like Zev, and we work really well together. So some of his ideas, some of my ideas. Previous health videos I've directed, but not all of them. And then with Zev, this guy, I'm comfortable, so we can kind of work closely together, and I can trust him. So I think in the future, there is a video at least I would love to co-direct with Zev. They're kind of they're hard thing. And just for us is like we're stuck at home with the pandemic and doing these low budget videos because the primacy of YouTube is just not it's like it's not the same as it was in 2000. And it's a lot of money drained, a lot of effort being drained that might not be the most useful. We have nothing really special. Maybe I'll stretch my neck, I've been in Dungeons & Dragons since I was in high school. Even before I played, I was really obsessed. I've just always been obsessed with fantasy. It's like my favorite thing in the world, probably. And I used to just read the books, and I had my own bullshit-ass role-playing game before that I just like had barely any role. I just do with my friends. So and I, in my adult life, I was like had this craving to do it, and so this same group we've had for about 7, 8 years, and we meet every Thursday. My real hobbies is I do music. I love to obviously eat, have a good time, regular shit, fuck or whatever, shit regular people do. But like in terms of actual hobbies, it's like Dungeons & Dragons, poker, / board games. All those are sort of tabletop games, and then video games, and like cooking, eating, regular shit. That's about it. I watch a movie from time to time. I like a good show. So I played 2nd edition in high school, and then I played 5e, which is a really simplified and really streamlined 2nd edition. The only thing I hate about 5e is everyone's a superhero, and it's very Marvel based, and I don't like that. And it's like too much. But over the time we've been playing with the house rules I picked up from the internet and implemented myself, or ones I made up, pretty damn good, and it runs really smooth. Everyone in my group are not like normal gamers. All people had to sort of like a handful. I had to like sort of beg to play D&D, and they got super into it. They're sort of like music people, and so it is great. And I've always just really loved Dungeons & Dragons. So a 60, I think there is a perfect version of the game. There's so many great YouTubes where people talk about the changes. I've tried to implement as much as possible. We use like a lot of house rules, but I try to keep it as simple as possible. What I love about 5e is insanely simple, and that's good. The only thing I don't like is they just give you too much perks. So I just make it harder, and I add like fun realism rules for certain stuff. But the original D&D rules are so stupid and esoteric for no fucking reason, and they're infuriating. If your friends are a game, like the hardest thing, especially when you're really young playing, we started playing D&D in like middle school. You can't even get your friends to pay attention. I don't even know it's even worse now with phones. So you want to be as simple as possible, because the story is a storytelling game anyway. You want to get that rule shit as simple as hell. Mexican food, Mexican beer. It'd be a pretty boring answer. If you look at my top bands of all time, they're like, Rolling Stones top fucking 500. So I'm not gonna blow anyone's mind. There's tons of music I love, but like if you had to ask me like my favorite, I'd have to choose someone who's like, I'd be like Led Zeppelin, like something really normal. There's also not very exciting. Ministry, Godflesh, and Understand. Sorry. Venue overall is what we call a rock box, a long rectangle, and that could be any size. Brooklyn Steel, it can be 4,000 capacity, it could be 500, but like that style of venue where it's an enclosed rock venue, it can only get so big. Obviously, is just sort of the best way to experience a show. Giant shows are not great for the fan, and smalls are great too. But like I think a rock box and something around close to 1,000 capacity is really incredible for the fans and bands and artists. And it feels very electric, and it also feels very big. It's just true. We've played every kind of venue in the fucking world, and we've opened huge tours. We've played very extremely small shows, but shows fucking nobody. We play shows on the floor, we play shows in bowling alleys. There's all kinds of things I could talk forever about the mentality of people and how they behave in certain side of venues, or see people, or what it feels like to be here. Because I spent the majority of my life going to fucking concerts. A rock box is the greatest way to see and play a show. I mean, something like Brooklyn Steel is a really big one, but that's great. That's like only 1,500 cap. Or Bowery Ballroom, New York, also New York, that's like 500 cap. It's also a rock box. These boxes are amazing. They also sound very good too. Our fifth proper album, which is I've been working all day on it before I talk to you. It's going to be, it's a lot of music. We're really working hard on it. It's going to be really cool. We have a lot of interesting ways we're going to roll it out. But I can't tell you because we're still figuring it out. But we'll be done in a month. God willing. And it's coming out this year no matter what. So it's funny. It's like, we don't need to say anything to our fans. Like, you can call my cell phone right now. We give out my phone number. You can go on the Discord and talk to me directly. You can message me now and I'll get back. So don't. No, I'm just joking. That's basically what people say. You know what? Actually, there's two sides. Okay, crazy uphill battle. You'll never make enough. You'll always be like, what the fuck? But two, flip side, being in music is incredible. The lifestyle, it cannot be beaten. And the truth is, you do not have to be very successful in music at all to experience the greatest parts of being a musician and traveling and touring. You don't really need to be very successful. So you could literally do music for about 5 years and do several tours and do all kinds of stuff and make a record and then just quit and then live your regular life and like get a job, and like it would be amazing. And you could really never, it would be great no matter what. So that would be great. Now, if you stay in the game forever, you're always going to be reaching, or you're going to do well, and you'll kind of go back and you'll do this thing forever, and you always be like, it's not enough money, or it is enough money, unless you get super lucky. It's very possible. So as other jobs, it can be a great thing, but it can also, be pretty brutal. But if you only are in music for a short amount of time, or a reasonable amount of time, like let's say it's 5 years, you could do pretty much all the fun shit you can do with music. Because being in a band or being a DJ or whatever the fuck you want to do, and playing out and doing festivals and traveling it's not impossible. It's more attainable than you think. You just can't get massive. And if you just make some fucking punk band and do a DIY tour of the West Coast, that's going to be amazing. There's no, as long as you're young, of course, not if you're old. If you're old, it'll be a little different. But let's say you're a young buck, you can make some fucking punk band or other bullshit, or you can go DJ, or you can make some, and it will be a fucking blast, and you can experience so many things that music has to offer. Get a little more serious. You can probably do a few festivals in Europe or something, European tour, and like, yeah, it gets better, but like that's basically it, and it's fucking great. And you being 21 and doing that is probably more fun than a extremely successful way older person, period. So why not? Thanks for watching, Industrial People. This is John, and we're here for you.